Hello, race fans. Welcome to episode number 5 of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. I am your host, Steve Ovens, alongside co-host Clint Miller. And producing the show tonight is Brad Ovens, running the switches for us, as he always is, here at the Casa de Pork Chop Studios here in beautiful Penn Yan, New York. Clint, how we doing tonight, sir?
Good. How you doing, Steven?
Man, we are rocking and rolling. We are ready to go into our Ladies Lounge. We have all-female racers joining us on the program tonight. We've got Lil Cobra Kelly Hebing is going to join us on the shoe. She is a 305 sprint car driver at the Canandaigua Motorsports Park and had a couple of starts, one at the Rollin' Wheels Raceway and one with the Empire Super Sprints out at Utica Rome Speedway earlier this year.
Running the 305.
Running the 305. And along with them on the show tonight is going to be the 2013 Black Rock Bandit track champion, Allison Teed, will join us here on Turn 5. Pretty incredible run for her this year. 10 races for the Black Rock Bandits, and didn't finish out of the top 5 once this year. Along to go with a string of wins, brings home the track championship, so we're going to ask her about winning her first track championship over at the Black Rock Speedway. We want to thank our sponsors who help us bring Turn 5 to the airwaves every single week. We want to thank our friends at Penn Yan Electronics, our local Radio Shack dealer in Penn Yan. Christmas and Black Friday shopping is just around the corner, Clint.
I can't wait. I am so excited.
I'll bet you are. And Penn Yan Electronics has a lot of great deals down there in Penn Yan for any gadget, laptop, notepad.
Yeah, whether you're hardcore gaming, we can get you your headsets for your Xbox, sound systems, surround sound, sound bars, Blu-ray. Don't forget the TVs. We got the TVs to get, so stop on down.
They're down there on Main Street in beautiful downtown Penn Yan. We want to thank Creekside Entertainment for keeping us connected on the internet through their website. Also, keep helping us keep everything sounding good over here at the studio. They are booking for their 2013 Christmas holiday parties, as well as looking at 2014 and 2015 wedding packages for both DJ and a DJ photo booth combination, or you can just rent the photo booth along by itself. Visit them at www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com. And we also want to thank and give a tip of the cap to our good friends at Race Chaser Online. Tom Baker and Jacob Seelman run Race Chaser Online and Speed 77 Radio on live stream. They run the Motorsports Madness report on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock, along with the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports report on Thursdays at 7 o'clock on live stream. Check out Speed 77 Radio. We told you who's going to be on the show tonight. One thing we want to do before we get to our interviews tonight is we do have results. And Clint, we got results from one track and one track only.
Yeah, we're kind of getting down to the nitty-gritty here, and not much left on the dirt circuit. I
mean the nitty-gritty. We've got a little bit of nothing left. One race that'll be coming up here in a couple weeks will be the Gobbler out there at Accord Speedway. Going to be a lot of big names going out to that.
Tim McCready they just announced Tim McCready will be there making his Gobbler debut.
T-Mac will be out there at the Gobbler. No turkey hangover for him. He'll be out there in the Vinny Salerno-owned 4-star machine. It'll be a lot of big names at that show. I mean, there's nothing else running. There'll be a lot of
Super Matt, Black Rock Speedway graduate.
Super Matt. I imagine Friesen will be out there.
Mike Mahaney.
Mike Mahaney, who's got a lot of big postseason wins.
Yeah, he's made about 13 or 14 grand this offseason.
Not a bad year. Not a bad year. So let's go over to the Susquehanna Speedway for their 410 sprint car race that they had this past weekend, and picking up a big win out there, Mr. Sell ran a great race. Derek Sell did. He took the win in the 410 sprint car class.
First ever 410 win.
Yeah, and he had to beat Logan Schuchart to get the win, and I've been working on the name Shoehart. I hope you're proud of me, Clint.
I am very proud of you. Thank you, Steven.
Logan looked like he had a real good shot at winning that race there coming down to the end. They said on the white flag lap coming down into turn 3 and 4, Logan shot down on the bottom, did the slide job, but pulling the Earnhardt move.
Crossed over coming out of 4, beat him by about half a car length.
Yep, Sell took the win, which was a $10,010 win, which commemorated the 10th year of the owners of the Susquehanna Speedway having the racetrack. So I thought that was pretty cool and a neat deal for those guys. Lance Deweese came home 3rd, and then 4th,
Blaine
Heimbeck, and Greg Hodnett rounded out the top 5. Heat race wins went to Shoehart, Greg Hodnett, Tim Glatfelter.
He won the consolation event.
Oh, that's right. He won the consolation event.
Justin Barger.
We wanted to mention that Justin Barger took a heat race win there. So congratulations to Justin.
ESS competitor.
Patriot competitor, anywhere there's a sprint car race competitor. And we'll look to get him on the show here in a couple weeks to tell us about his 2014 plans. I know he's looking at running some more races down in Pennsylvania. So
I think he went to a sprint car race out in Arkansas, right? Didn't we talk about that a couple weeks ago for the Arkansas something nationals?
He very well may have. I know Jason Barney, I think, went out to a race out there too. So those guys have been doing some traveling, and it'll be interesting to see if Justin decides to do some more races down there in Pennsylvania. I mean, there's certainly a lot of Pennsylvania sprint car tracks to go around.
There's enough. Bucket list.
I just happened to have breakfast on Sunday with a guy who told me all of the Pennsylvania sprint car tracks I got to hit. Our good buddy Pat Callahan down at a local eatery here in town was telling me all about the Selinsgrove, the Williams Grove, Lincoln, Port Royal. He was telling me about. And he goes, "You got to Susquehanna." He goes, "There's a lot of tracks you guys got to get to down there."
I think you and I might have to make some road trips this summer.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell Stu that I got to take some Saturdays off, take some weekends off. So that was the results that we got in from the Susquehanna Speedway. Again, we were talking about the Gobbler. We'll get the results from that, and we'll read them off to you. But I think we're going to go to break right now, Clint. When we come back, we're going to bring in our first interview of the night. We're going to step into the ladies' lounge and talk to the driver of the number 10-305, Lil Cobra, Kelly Hebing. Stay tuned. You're listening to Turn 5. Hey, Brad, where do you go for your NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, short track, dirt, and World of Outlaws coverage?
I go to racechaseronline.com.
Aren't they also at Speed 77 Radio on live stream?
Yeah, they've got the Motorsports Madness Report on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock and the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Join in on the fun at racechaseronline.com and see them on Facebook. Search Race Chaser Online.
Shop early for incredible Black Friday deals at Radio Shack. Choose from the latest smartphones, tablets, e-readers, plus portable Bluetooth speakers, top brand headphones, and much more. Radio Shack also has super low prices on RC toys, digital cameras, and laptops, plus a huge selection of stocking stuffers and accessories for all their electronic gadgets. So don't miss out on your chance to save big on Black Friday deals at your neighborhood Radio Shack at 103 Main Street in beautiful downtown Penn.
Welcome back to Turn 5, race fans. We're going to go over to the Turn 5 hotline and bring in our first driver for the ladies' lounge tonight here on Turn 5. We're going to bring in the driver of the number 10 305 Sprint and on occasion run with the 360s, Kelly Hebing. Kelly, how are you tonight?
Good. How are you?
Oh, we're doing well. We're doing well. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. As I told you when we lined up the interview, tonight is our ladies only program. So we thank you for coming out.
Well, thanks for having me.
We wanted to shine the light on our local lady racers and and kind of give some background and introduce you to some folks that may not have had the chance to meet you or see you at the racetrack before. So let's start with kind of how you got involved in racing. I mean, obviously, your dad Chuck is quite the racer in his own record. But what got you started in it?
Well, like you said, Dad there's quite the driver, and ever since I was 3.5 weeks old, I've been going to the races with him and watching, and it's just something that sticks with you, and you're not just going to want to watch forever. So I finally bugged Mom and Dad enough for my 14th birthday. I got my 270.
And that was something that you guys raced over at Paradise. Did you guys do just Paradise, or was there any other tracks you guys ran?
I went to Paradise, and then they had a few special shows over at Monroe County Fairgrounds.
Okay.
That we ran, but yeah, just mostly at Paradise.
Now, Monroe County Fairgrounds, that's actually not a place that I've ever been to before. What would you describe that? What was the size of that track?
Oh, it's a little bull ring. And I think they only had like a few special shows there. The first time we went, it rained all one morning, so it was wicked muddy.
Okay.
But the second time, it's not a bad little place, but I think since then they actually moved the fairground, so I don't think it's even a track anymore.
Okay. Well, that's actually, I'm just looking at my producer here. That's something that we're going to have to check out because that's not a place we've been to before, so we need to look into that. Now, you did the 270 micro sprint, and then you got into the 305 sprint car at Canandaigua. So, tell us how that came about.
Well, yeah, up until this year, I even had 3 races at Paradise earlier this year in my 270, and then one night Dad came home, and he said, Danny Wilmus stopped over, and he wants to know what I thought about putting you in a 305. So thanks to Danny, ever since,
Sure.
we've been on that 305, and I brought it to Paradise once to practice, and the next Saturday I had my first race at Canandaigua.
Now, what was that like for you to have Dad come home and say, a car owner that has cars over at Canandaigua wants you to drive his car?
It's a pretty cool feeling because, guys who have people drive their cars, they just don't want anybody in there who they don't believe in or anything. So it was pretty cool to know that Danny trusted me enough to drive one of his cars and help get his name out there maybe a little more if I did well in it.
And even though you were new in that car, that had to be quite a confidence booster to get you up and started.
Oh, it was definitely just knowing you have support behind you even before you got in the car. And then we went to practice, like I said, and with that going well, it sort of just kind of keeps building and you keep telling yourself you can do it.
First time you went on the track in the 305, what was that experience like, and what do you remember from it?
It was more like a finally moment for me because I've watched Dad since like 05 and the 360, and knowing I was in the micro and we got that figured out pretty well at Paradise, and you just want to go faster at some point. So it was a really cool feeling to step in the 305, and when you touch the throttle, it was a whole different ballgame than the micro.
Yeah, absolutely. And to kind of recap your year there at Canandaigua, you really, and I'm going to ask you this question from your perspective, but as somebody on the outside, as a media member who went over and got to see you run at Canandaigua a few times, you had to be pretty happy with the experience you got.
Oh, I was wicked happy. Going there, you don't expect to do well. Well, not do well, but you don't expect to go light the world on fire by any means. But each night we moved up a few spots, and I had a top 5, and I got to lead some laps. And then my second time in the car, they had that special race at Rolling Wheels, and
that's right.
We started on the pole for it, and I was leading. And just because I ran into some trouble with a lap car, even to get second in that race to Paul Habeck, who's been doing it, it kind of gives you a pat on the back, like, I'm here and I can do this.
Absolutely.
Not just ride around in the back.
And after that show at Rolling Wheels, I believe you guys had a few more races that you ran in at Canandaigua, right?
Yeah, we had pretty, I want to say at least 7 more races I got to do at Canandaigua.
That's great. And after that, I mean, you had some really good runs at Canandaigua. I remember one night there, you, up until I think a late restart, I mean, you were holding them off for the lead, and I remember turning to my family and say, Kelly's got a shot at this. I mean, she's got a legitimate shot to win this race, and she, running a great line and all that. So what was that night like?
It's cool, especially over at Canandaigua, because it's such a hometown crowd for us, and I grew up going every Saturday to watch Dad and the mods. So you walk through the grandstands, you know every face. So to be able to go out in front of them and not look like you don't know what you're doing, or kind of keep Dad's name going, because you're still Hebing, they think you can do just the same. So it's pretty cool to know that, hey, I can.
Yeah, and it's got to help with, because I got to imagine, I think it's a given that there's got to be some pressure with your dad being Chuck,
Mm-hmm. Well, most definitely, but the cool thing is that Dad's turned it into, like, this is my turn. It's not, Dad did this, and this is what you got to do. He's been there every step of the way, and it's cool to finally make a name for yourself. You're not just the Cobra's daughter. Like, I'm Kelly, and this is what I've done. That's really neat, and I think that was one thing that I was able to take away from the interview that I did with your dad, and for our Turn 5 listeners, I'll post the link for that article. But one thing that struck me with talking to Chuck about Kelly's racing was the fact that he wants to make sure that she learns, because the way he described it was, he goes, I know how to do it the wrong way because I've probably been there and done it the wrong way and had to learn that. So he's really trying to make it your own experience, but still give those tips to some of the things that he's seen gone wrong or things that he might have done differently in the past. Most definitely. It's been really cool.
Now, I want to transition a little bit and talk about what your role has been as one of the prominent female competitors at Canandaigua. I know you told me in our interview with Race Chaser Online that you had a little girl come up to you and sign her checkered flag, and she was only having female drivers sign that flag. So what has that experience been like, being a female role model there?
It's been a total eye-opener, at least for me, because even I grew up and you watch, and it's mostly guys that come to the fields, and the first girl that I seen was Jessica Zemkin, and it's just cool to watch her hold her own against the guys and win races and show them that she's there. And it's just been an awesome feeling knowing, like, that's me to somebody else, especially like when I told you in that interview, walking through the grandstands and a little girl asked me to sign a checkered flag. It's just cool to be a part of what I used to look up to, thinking that could be me one day. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that's been a really cool thing for folks like yourself, Alicia, and Caitlin Kane, that's been running the modifieds for a little while now. It's I think that's a really cool thing, and I think it's great that you guys embrace that. I think that's important to grow the sport.
I think you have to, because the fans, even saying you have fans is a cool feeling, but the ones who go to the races, and this is the reason why we're all still there. Yeah,
for sure. Now, toward the end of the season, we had a little bit of misfortune, and or maybe a lot of misfortune, I guess we should say.
Yeah, that one was a lot.
Yeah, some season-ending misfortune. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, coming out of 2 at Canandaigua, I think something broke, or I might have even caught the inner tire on the left front, but I just started full throttle straight into the concrete barrier that covers the light pole they have there, and I didn't flip, but the car jumped in the air and did a 360 and landed on all fours, but I ended up going right through that wall and knocking it over, and I shortened the car up about 3 feet and wrecked every piece of equipment on it.
Man, and I saw the pictures of when you guys were tearing that apart, and I mean, thank God for all the safety equipment that's in the race cars, because you were essentially able to walk away from that. And
absolutely. I walked right out of it, but if you look at the car from the front axle being under the headers to when we pulled the car apart. I even bent the crankshaft and knocked the mag right off the top of its base.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty good hit for me being able to get out by myself. So as long as I could do that, the car can be rebuilt.
And I know that part of you being able to walk away from that was after Alicia's accident there at Canandaigua. I know, I believe it was almost the following week you guys installed a crash pad into the car.
Oh, absolutely. I believe it was the following week because my mom and I were actually right on scene on that accident. And once they heard that Alicia had broken her back in those spots, Dad knew that something had to be done. And that crash pad we got from Mike Emhoff and put it in the car. And thank God that I had it when I crashed, because I'm telling you, I don't think I would have been walking away like I did.
Yeah, and the crash pad was something that I just recently educated myself on, and I mean, it's absolutely amazing to think. I mean, I know your guys' accidents were a little bit different in how they happened, but I mean, you look at the end result, and I think it would be hard to say that, you know, it doesn't make a difference at all, because I think in your case it certainly did.
I believe it did, just because it's a pretty cool piece of equipment. You're sitting on 2 inches of foam under you, so the cool thing about it is the harder it gets hit, the stiffer it gets.
Right.
So it's definitely made for high-impact stuff, and the way I landed, I just can't think that me with just on the bare metal seat would have ended as well as it did with memory foam under me.
Yeah. And for anybody that's listening tonight, I know Kelly would encourage, because she encouraged me to check out their site and learn about that. It's 802solutions.com, and we've got a feature article on Race Chaser Online about the crash pad as well. All right, Kelly, looking ahead to 2014, do we have plans starting to take shape yet?
We're starting. Thanks to Patrick Vignault, he races against Dad with the ESS. He actually gave me a chassis and body, so we're rebuilding now. And I think next season I'm going to look at finishing a 305 season all together in one piece and get more seat time. I'd like to think I could at least get one 360 show under my belt just to see what the difference is at a track. But that's more schmooze and mom than anything.
Yeah. I know that when we interviewed you previously in the season that was something that you said you were going to have to work on.
Yeah, it's definitely a goal. I love being with the ESS family racing because, like I said, family. Everybody helps everybody, and that's just a really cool thing I want to be a part of. Yeah,
and I know that it's good to see you out there. I got to see you run with ESS at Utica Rome, and you really held your own there. And getting seat time, that's what's important for you right now.
Yeah, that's what I want, seat time.
All right, Kelly, well, before we get you out of here tonight, we want to give you a chance to thank the crew and the sponsors to help you get to the racetrack.
Well, first off, I got to thank Danny Wellness for even giving me the ride and believing that I could do it. And then I have to thank the cooks. They've been the main sponsor even on the micro. And Dad and Mom for working their tails off all week so I can do it. And then my boyfriend Joe's been coming all summer to the house and helping on the car and going to the track with me. So it's a big family event, so it's been fun.
Well, that's great. Well, Kelly, thanks again for helping us with our Ladies Lounge show here on the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. And before 2014 comes up, we're going to catch up with you again and see how things are coming together.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. That's Kelly Hebing on the Turn 5 hotline. You can catch her at Canandaigua, looking at 2014, running with the 305s, and I'm sure there will be some ESS or Patriot races sprinkled in there as well. When we come back, we're going to have our next interview. We're going to talk to Allison Teed, so keep listening to Turn 5. Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. They're currently booking for the 2013 Christmas holiday party season. They're also booking 2014 and 2015 weddings. If you need a DJ or a photo booth to make your wedding or party a memorable event, contact Creekside at www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com or call Stu at 315-481-9700.
Your dirt track home for news, discussion, and driver interviews along with race results. You're listening to Turn 5.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5. We're ready for our second interview here on our Ladies Lounge episode here on Turn 5. And to do that, we're going to head out to the Reading Center, Watkins Glen area and bring in the driver of the number 14, who is your 2013 Black Rock Bandit champion. That's Allison T. Allison, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
We're doing well. Well, first of all, congratulations on winning the championship. That is really cool.
Thank you.
Now, this is your first championship, as I understand, right?
Yes.
How good does that feel?
It feels really good. I spent 2 years in the class. I was really working hard for it. Feels good to finally achieve it.
Yeah, and it sounds like your recipe for a championship was just consistently being in the top 5. You guys, out of the 10 races the Bandits ran this year, you didn't finish outside of the top 5 on any of those nights.
No, I picked up 4 wins this year. And I'd have to thank that to my dad for always making sure the car was all good, always making sure before I went out everything was all right, so that I could at least finish the race, you know.
And I was even reading on one of the press releases that one of the races you had to come in and change a flat tire and then come back out and try and gain as many spots as you could, and you were still able to get up to second place. So, I mean, runs like that, though, that's what's winning championships right there.
Yeah, it's got to be consistent. I mean, I was really frustrated when I got that flat tire. I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to be able to finish this race. But my dad and the Petrovskis who parked next to us just worked real hard to get me back out there. And it really motivated me to go out there and do my best.
That's awesome. And that's a pretty good crew to be having parked next to you for sure.
And they really helped us out this year. I'd love to make the Petrovskis. We'll be parking by them next year, too.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, if I think back, I think the Petrovskis have been running around these racetracks longer than you and I have lived put together.
Yeah.
Now let's go back a little bit, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this question, but I wanted to ask it for our Turn 5 listeners. How exactly did you get involved in racing to begin with?
Well, it's kind of a funny story. I was 7 years old, and then my uncles were racing dirt bikes, and I was like, Dad, I really want to race a dirt bike. And he's like, no, it's too dangerous. I'll put you in a go-kart. So I did go-karts for 4 years. I picked up 2 championships on them.
And where did you guys run?
Starlight Speedway in Trumansburg.
Okay.
So I picked up 2 championships there, and my dad's like, all right, we're going to move you up. And I was really scared. I was like, oh, my goodness, a standard car. Like, I didn't know. I was only 11.
Yeah.
And then I started racing. I picked it up pretty quick. I got a second place overall points championship my first year. Then picked it up championship this year.
What was it like stepping into the big car for the first time?
It was so different. I wasn't used to being enclosed. I wasn't used to having to worry about shifting.
Oh, yeah.
It is. I love it.
Now, what, and if you don't want to give your racing secrets away, that's okay, too. But how much shifting do you have to do with the 4-cylinder?
All you really have to do is when you get out on the track, just shift it from first to second and stay in second the whole race. Okay,
that's what I thought. That's what I used to do when I ran those cars,
yeah.
But I just wondered how much had changed. So,
yeah.
That's cool. Now, you were talking about your go-kart experience. I understand you also got a win up at Syracuse in the go-kart.
Yep, junior gold plate, I think it was, or blue plate, I'm not sure. It was last year. The Petrovskis actually let me race one of their go-karts.
Oh, okay.
I went up there and I picked up the championship up there too.
That's awesome. I mean, that indoor show. If fans, if you've never been to the Syracuse Indoor Show, I highly recommend it. That's the most fun in one day you can have going to the go-kart races.
It's so fast, and it had been so long since I've been inside a go-kart, and it felt great to get back inside on one.
That's great. Now, what with you race? Do you race strictly at Black Rock, or do you have any other places that you run?
Just strictly at Black Rock. I went once last year at Paradise. I got a win at Paradise for the fall season they had there last year, in Matt Machetsi's car. I picked up a win there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to just staying at Black Rock until I start moving up.
Yeah. And that was something we were talking about, you know, what was going to be, you know, now you've won races, you've won a championship, and after you win that championship, you know, sometimes drivers get to that, okay, what's the next goal? What's the next thing we're going to conquer?
Yeah, my next goal is just to go back out this year because I got to do one more year in the Bandits class because I'm still too young.
Okay.
I hope to pick up the championship next year, and then after that, I hope to go into a street stock that my dad's setting up this year.
All right. Well, you hear that, Brad? She's calling her shot. She's coming back to defend the title.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I mean, and it's good to have that goal because now you've got your first championship under you. I mean, and I know you probably haven't had long to think about this. I mean, you guys haven't even had the banquet yet. But
yeah,
does anything change in your mindset now coming back next year having won a championship?
Well, I hope that it just kind of forget that I didn't get that championship so I can go out there and just like I did this year.
Yeah.
Continue racing and not get it in my head that I already got a championship.
Yeah. Now, you know, you're coming back to the Black Rock Bandits next year. What are your long-term goals? Do you want to keep going through the ranks, or is racing?
I want to get into a modified, but I want to run a couple years in the C stock once I'm able to move up.
Okay.
But I plan to go into a modified.
Cool. And and I'm sure Dad's excited about that.
Oh yeah, he's really excited.
That's awesome. I mean, I went through doing the research for our interview tonight and got to see a lot of the pictures that are posted from the racetracks and all that stuff. And it just seems like you guys really enjoy the time you spend together at the racetrack, and it really seems like you guys have fun out there.
Oh yeah, Black Rock is just a fun place. Fun dirt track. They're always dirt tracks are always fun.
Yeah. No, when you're running at Black Rock, what was? I mean, the track was a little different. I think they still had the wall the last year I ran there, and it seemed like everybody always used to love running the top side of the speedway. Where's your favorite place to run?
Can you ask that again? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just talking about, you know, the preferred line at Black Rock. It seems like lately it's more the preferred line is running the bottom. Where do you feel more comfortable running your car?
I feel comfortable in the middle of the track on the straightaways and then going real low down in the corners.
Okay. Have you ever had the pleasure of meeting one of the turtles down there?
Oh, yeah, I have.
What was that like?
A couple times. It was definitely a little bit scary, feeling the car come up in the air a little bit and just plopping down. Yeah.
Now, we just talked about your plans for next year, coming back, trying to defend the title. Any plans other than just running Black Rock next year?
Well, I'm trying to get my dad to take me off the can big water a couple times.
Okay.
But I'm just going to keep asking and asking until he does.
There you go. There you go. Well, we certainly thank you for joining us tonight on the show. And before we get you out, I want to give you a chance to thank all of your crew, your sponsors, and your family for helping you get to the racetrack.
All right. I'd like to thank First Mechanic especially for letting me have the car to race, and he's part owner of it. My grandpa letting us use his tools and stuff. My dad especially for keeping the car together every, Friday night, to making sure it's all good so I can make it out there and finish. That was always our main goal, just to finish the race.
Yeah.
And my sponsors, Corral, Whirlpool, Sport Ops Recycling, and I think that's it.
Well, that's awesome. Well, again, congratulations on winning the Black Rock Bandit Championship. I know how special it is to get one of those, and congratulations for doing so.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's Allison Teed. They call her Alley Cat. She's the driver of the number 14. She runs in the Black Rock Bandits. She picked up the championship this year, and she's calling her shot. Says she's coming back to defend her title, so you'll see her in 2014 over at the Black Rock Speedway. When we come back, we're going to wrap up episode number 5 at the Ladies Lounge here on Turn 5.
Shop early for incredible Black Friday deals at Radio Shack. Choose from the latest smartphones, tablets, e-readers, plus portable Bluetooth speakers, top brand headphones, and much more. Radio Shack also has super low prices on RC toys, digital cameras, and laptops, plus a huge selection of stocking stuffers and accessories for all their electronic gadgets. So don't miss out on your chance to save big on Black Friday deals at your neighborhood Radio Shack at 103 Main Street in beautiful downtown Penn.
Hey, Brad, where do you go for your NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, short track, dirt, and World of Outlaws coverage?
I go to racechaseronline.com.
Aren't they also at Speed 77 Radio on live stream?
Yeah, they've got the Motorsports Madness Report on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock and the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Join in on the fun at racechaseronline.com and see them on Facebook. Search Race Chaser Online. Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. They're currently booking for the 2013 Christmas holiday party season. They're also booking 2014 and 2015 weddings. If you need a DJ or a photo booth to make your wedding or party a memorable event, contact Creekside at www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com or call Stu at 315-481-9700. Welcome back to Turn 5. We're going to put a wrap here on episode number 5. It was a good episode, the Ladies Lounge, something that I don't know that's ever been done before, and just trying to bring a little something different. And
that's right. That's what we're us. We're new. We're spicy. We're bringing it to you.
We're trying to, introduce the fans to some drivers that they may not know of, but they should know of. I think Kelly Hebing is certainly a name that's not going anywhere anytime soon. She loves racing sprint cars, and she wants to continue racing sprint cars. And, with a successful dad in sprint car racing like your dad, Chuck, I think that's something we're going to see.
And how cool is that to be able to race with your dad?
Absolutely.
It's something that I've always wanted to do. I never had the opportunity, but, man, that would be killer.
I never had that opportunity either, but I certainly look at some of the racing families here at the local tracks that get to race with their dad, and that is for sure one thing that we regret on missing out on. But and then the other, of course, somebody else who probably at one point or another is going to end up racing with her dad, Allison Teed, picking up the track championship over there at Black Rock Speedway. So a lot of great interviews, and we want to thank both of those ladies for joining us on the show tonight and taking time out of their week to help us do that and bring that to our race fans. So as we wrap up the show, let's take a look at the NASCAR predictions that we made last week. We're going to go ahead and pull that up on our... And as we look at the NASCAR predictions that we made, we started out with the Truck Series, and Clint didn't put in a pick on that, and Craig told me that he doesn't watch the Truck Series, so I couldn't get a pick out of him.
You got to start watching the trucks, Craig. I think it's the best NASCAR series going.
I took Bubba Wallace, and I couldn't even tell you where Bubba Wallace finished. He might have even wrecked out. I'm not sure, but anyway, coming home with a win in the truck race prediction was none other than our producer, our magic man of the keys over there, our producer Brad. He gets the winner chicken and biscuit dinner award for picking Kyle Busch. Shrub.
I think that was a safe bet, Brad. Good job.
Yep.
I think he's won like 27 truck races since he started running the trucks. 4 or 5 years.
I'm just gonna throw us out there. I mean, he pretty much took the Kyle Larson at any sprint car track. I'll take Kyle Busch. Really? Come on. Jeez. But anyway, that was the Truck Series. Matt Crafton took the championship. He had that locked up. All he needed to do was start.
Just real quick, I read it. I got a tweet on Friday morning, and it said, the trucks were getting ready to go out for their first practice, and Matt Crafton's crew chief said, "Hey, Matt, how's the truck?" Matt said, "It started." And his crew chief said, "Good practice, boys. We're done."
That's good stuff. Absolutely. That is good stuff right there. Let's move up to the Nationwide. They ran their grand finale for the Nationwide Series on Saturday down at the Homestead Miami Speedway. And everybody took Austin Dillon except for me. I said, no, I think Sam Hornish has got something for him, and you can't count him out. Well, for the first half of the race, my pick was looking real good. Austin Dillon came in with an 8-point lead, and for more than half the race, Sam Hornish had at least an 8-point lead, if not more. But man, when the track changed, they moved under the lights, all of a sudden Sam Hornish throws boat anchor out and just, I mean, he didn't drop to the back of the pack, but he just might as well have. That car was not working for him.
No, and he dropped back far enough to where Austin Dillon, they did some pit strategy at the end of the race, got up to, running in the top 5 with 10 or 11 to go. They both went backwards, but Sam, who had been running up front all day, he went backwards too, and it inevitably cost him the title.
It sure did, and Austin, who struggled mightily in the beginning parts of that race, they worked and worked and worked, and, they really still didn't get the car right, but they got it right enough so that he could keep Hornish within an eye shot to make sure that they wrapped up the championship. And that just blew my mind was, Richard Childress, Austin, and Mike Dillon, Austin's dad, all three of them said after the race, we didn't have a great car here tonight. And it's like, well, it's a good thing it worked out then because, it's the last race of the season. You're running for a championship, and you say you didn't bring yourself a good car. Well, they better hope they bring good cars next year in the Cup Series because
every week
the Cups, you don't mess around with that.
It'll be different seeing the number 3 car in the Cup Series.
Be running back there with Travis Quapple. You're speaking of things on Twitter. I saw an awesome, I think it was on Twitter and on Facebook. It was from our friend Jacob Seelman from Speed 77 Radio. He said, 2 cautions, both Travis Quapple. I said, oh, goodness. Oh, boy. So, speaking of the Cup race, let's move up to the Sprint Cup. And again, everybody except me picked Jimmy Johnson to win. And Jimmy Johnson went down to Homestead, and he did what Jimmy Johnson does.
His car was fast.
He had a good car. I don't think he had a car that was dominant, like he had at Texas, but he didn't need it to be.
That's right. He didn't need to. And he did something that most guys didn't do, is he pretty much stayed on the bottom all night. Yeah. He was a bottom feeder.
Yep.
And, everybody else was running the wall when the tires started to give out, but he stuck right on the bottom. And
he seems to like to run down there, but, you think about it, that's a safer place to keep the car. I mean, how many guys between the Truck Series, Nationwide, and Cup ended up getting in the wall and killing the race because, and I believe it was, I'm trying to remember who it was. There was a driver that got into the wall over the weekend that said, it was Ryan Blaney in the truck race. He goes, I lost my concentration for maybe 10 seconds. I lost my concentration.
Well, these guys are running 6 inches off the wall.
Yeah.
Every lap.
It's unbelievable.
And there was a quote this weekend that from Donovan McNabb, which
I wasn't even going to say his name.
Yeah, well, I was a fan until this weekend that said that NASCAR drivers aren't athletes. But let me tell you something. You know, when these guys can sweat off 10 pounds in the car.
I'd like to see Donovan McNabb come tell Kelly Hebing or Allison Teed that race car drivers aren't athletes.
You know what? I think Jimmy Johnson's going to do a triathlon here pretty soon. I think Donovan McNabb ought to line up next to him. Let's see who comes across the finish line
The
first.
only triathlon Donovan McNabb's doing is pizza, wings, and beer. That's the only triathlon he's doing anytime soon.
Perfect.
But, again, let me not project my opinions on Donovan McNabb onto our Turn 5 Nation here. But, so Jimmy Johnson gets a championship, so Brad, Clint, and Craig all had that right. I was hoping maybe Matt Kenseth could pull a little magic, and Matt had a really good run. It just wasn't enough.
And then the sun went down.
Although he didn't have quite the boat anchor he had out at Phoenix. Oh my word,
That is awful.
that was not good.
That cost him the championship by far.
I mean, when your guy says to you, "I'd rather throw it in the corner and be loose and run it like a sprint car than to be pushing through the corner." And
Well, when your crew chief says, "Matt, I'm sorry, there's really nothing more that I can do with this race car today."
yeah, that killed their chase. That killed their chase. And I'm biased, but man, was it exciting to watch Dale Jr. manhandle that race car at the end of the race. I thought he really was going to have something for him. I don't know that he would have caught and passed Denny Hamlin, but man, if he had gotten by Kenseth, I'd have loved to seen how close he would have got.
He almost wrecked them both.
He did. And if I'm Matt Kenseth, I'm backing out of the gas. I'm sorry. This guy's going up to win the race. Well, that's fine. I'm going to sit here and run third, and hopefully Jimmy blows a tire or something, because that's the only way I'm going to win the championship. But anyway, and speaking of Denny Hamlin, your guy takes home the win. That was a big win for Denny.
I'm a fan, much needed. You know, he's won one race for 8 straight years, and coming off his back injury where he missed a couple months out of the year. Yeah, it was big. That
was big for him for sure. So that was that's the NASCAR roundup, and they'll head home and rest up, and they'll head out to Vegas for the banquet. And
yeah, actually the Nationwide banquet is
Nationwide
tonight.
and Truck Series, I think they were all crowned this evening. I did see that Regan Smith got most popular driver.
Really?
Yep.
Very nice.
So that was nice for him.
Junior
to see.
Motorsports car?
Junior Motorsports, yep. He certainly benefits from Junior Nation on that one. And last night, if you get the CBS Sports Network, you saw the finale of the Williams Grove National Open. Great win by Freddie Raymer. What a way to go out, close out a legendary career.
Dominant.
And
I listened to that race on Dirt Vision.
Yep.
And he was lights out. There wasn't anybody that was going to touch him on that night.
I think it's really special that sometimes in racing and in all sports, you get a story that ends like that, and it's just, man, it just makes you feel good.
And I hope you paid attention to Victory Lane, because there was some interesting goings on in the Victory Lane that night. So hopefully you check that out.
We took a look at the CBS Sports Network schedule. Looks like they are taking a week off this coming Sunday. Then they'll get right back to it on December 1st with the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars at the Rolling Wheels Raceway. December 8th will be the Syracuse 200 for the Super Dirt Car Big Block Modifieds. December 15th will be the night one of the World of Outlaws World Finals down at the dirt track at Charlotte. December 22nd will be the finale, which will be night number 2 of the World of Outlaws World Finals down at Charlotte.
And how awesome is it to see the best racing on earth back on television? Dirt racing.
Absolutely.
Grassroots.
What I hope is that we'll see more of this next year, not just, it's the end of the year, we're going to put something together and do a 6-race deal. I really hope that they do more with it.
I wish that, dirt racing is where it's at. It's grassroots, and and it's so popular. Like the World of Outlaws and the late models and the sprint cars, it's so popular with the people,
and it's growing. And this is only going to help that. So
I go to Lebanon Valley every year. Well, the last 2 years I have, and it's standing room only.
Oh yeah,
I mean we're just lucky to have tickets where we do, and the infield is packed. Half of it with spectators that bring their vehicles in. It's just awesome. It's a spectacle to see.
That's great. Speaking of growing the sport and getting ready for next year, this weekend out at the New York State Fairgrounds is the annual National Parts Peddler Show out at the fairgrounds, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday out in Syracuse, New York. You'll have a lot of cars on display, some championship cars. I know John Waters from the BRP Can-Am late models will be out there. Matter of fact, the BRP late model banquet will be out there Saturday evening.
Yeah, would I read $28,000?
$28,000
in contingency and cash.
Absolutely, and that's always a nice show out there that Gary and Karen Montgomery put on. So we'll look forward to seeing that out at the Parts Peddler. Clint, we had another successful show. Episode number 5, the Ladies Lounge.
Absolutely. This is awesome. I'm thank you guys for listening. You make us have a good time.
Thank you to the race fans who listen. Thank you to the drivers who participate.
Yes.
2 very nice, respectable young ladies joining us tonight and telling us about their racing careers. So thank you very much to Kelly Hebing and Allison Teed. We weren't able to catch up with Caitlin Kane tonight. Hopefully we'll be able to do that in the future. Before we go, I want to thank our sponsors again. Penn Yan Electronics, your Radio Shack dealer down on Main Street in Penn Yan. Creekside Entertainment, you can find them at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. And I would get some lashings from my writing partner Tom Baker from RaceChaserOnline.com if I didn't mention Race Chaser Online and Speed 77 Radio. You can catch their show Tuesdays and Thursdays on live stream at 7 o'clock. For Clint Miller, Brad Ovens, Kelly Hebing, and Allison Teed, I'm the host of Turn 5, saying, race fans, check it before you wreck it.